Hey guys, Mike in the Woods here. It's the end of 2021, which means that it's time to take a look back through the year and take a look at what I thought would happen for 2021 versus what actually happened, as well as forecast out into what I think is going to happen for 2022. Spoiler alert, we missed some important milestones and the channel sagged for a good portion of the year, but we seem to be on the mend now and things are actually looking quite positive for 2022. So a quick reminder to subscribe if you haven't already, and let's take a look. So first up, let's take a look at what I predicted was going to happen for this past year versus what actually happened. So just as a point of comparison, at this point last year, I was at 2,167 subscribers. I had predicted that I was going to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of this year, and well, that didn't happen. I managed to hit 4,431, less than half. I mean, which was still a pretty good growth rate. That was a growth rate of 104% versus a predicted 361%. I was hitting on the notes that I really wanted to, such as exploring backpacking on my electric skateboard, but the one really important milestone that I missed, which wasn't really any fault of my own, and that's just because they haven't entered production yet, and that was I was really naively hoping to take delivery of my Cybertruck by the end of this year. As it stands now, I'll be super lucky if I manage to take delivery by this time next year. So in terms of channel performance, there was a huge stretch of time this year where I saw a huge downturn in channel metrics. From January to March, man, my view counts just continued to plummet. It was really starting to get quite demotivational. And then from about March until September, it didn't drop, but it didn't grow any either. It kind of just stayed flat. Since September, things have actually thankfully started to actually slowly but surely go back up. And the reason why I think the channel was doing terribly, it was a combination of a few things. I think I had way too many subtopics, and just having a lot of those and having viewers interested in different things was hurting my metrics across the board, right? So if you have some people interested in survival stuff, some people interested in everyday carry stuff, yet others interested in backcountry camping stuff, that would affect things like click-through rate, because let's say there was a three-way split between my audience. Only 1/3 of that audience would even be interested in a particular video topic in the first place, and then only a subset of those would actually click on the video, so that would nuke my CTR. And then some of those people that were interested in other stuff that did wind up clicking on a video that wasn't of their particular interest would nuke my retention rate. And I think just the fact that it did have too many subtopics really hurt the willingness of people to subscribe to the channel, because it was kind of like a box of chocolates approach where people didn't quite know what they were going to get. So towards the end of this year, and I think that's what helped my metrics start to go back up, I really started to rein in the subtopics to a very particular subset. So what actually has been performing well for the channel? Videos about 3D printed gear tend to do really well over the long term with a exponential growth curve. How-tos and tutorials for backpacking related stuff seem to do well for the most part. Again, same sort of deal. Not really initially strong performing, but trends upward exponentially over time. And as of late, winter backpacking stuff has actually started to do really well. And that's why you see me starting to focus on that a little bit for this time of year on the channel. And if you're curious about monetization, I've been making, on average, somewhere in the neighborhood of like anywhere from $100 to $120 Canadian every month. Because my channel had been doing particularly terribly, I had dropped my video output to only 2 a month. But you'll notice for December, I went back up to 4 a month, or 1 a week. And I'll probably continue with the 1 a week again as long as I continue to see growth in the channel. And I made a lot of changes and will continue to do so going forward through 2022 for the channel direction. And that's really just niching down into the very specific topics that I like to cover that do well and that mesh really well together. Backpacking and overlanding are the two main areas of interest on this channel going forward. You'll notice I haven't done any bushcraft related stuff, I haven't done any survival stuff, I haven't done really any everyday carry stuff, and I haven't really done too many overlanding type videos lately, but I mean, it's all just purely theoretical at this point. I don't have my Cybertruck yet. There's only so many topics I can cover without actually owning the truck, you know what I mean? But once I do take delivery of my Cybertruck, overlanding will be brought up to the level of backpacking, and that will be the two main topics of this channel. And of course, it goes without saying, but fun, futuristic tech will continue to be a strong modifier of content on this channel, right? So stuff like backpacking on my electric skateboard, overlanding with the Tesla Cybertruck, and overlanding videos as it relates to other electric vehicles. And of course, 3D printed gear. Now that my trip videos have sort of taken on a life of their own, my editing's gotten better, I've got my own unique spin to them to make them more interesting, and as long as I work in my particular flavor of some sort of tech modifier in the trip, so like I said, the electric skateboard for backpacking trips, Cybertruck overlanding trips, or a lot of 3D printed gear on backpacking trips, I want to work in more trip videos. So like I always say, it's important for me to practice what I preach and actually get out and do these trips, but I, actually enjoy getting out and doing these trips in the first place, right? What's the phrase? Show, don't tell? As for me being on camera, I definitely feel more at home being on camera now. I feel more like myself. I don't feel like I'm faking some sort of crap personality on the camera. I refined my branding on the channel, especially with my thumbnail design. I got some excellent feedback that I implemented. My thumbnails are a lot more clear, no obtrusive green bars on the top and bottom, and I changed the font a little bit, and now it's much more clear with the thumbnail of what the video is about. A much better design, and it's reflected in the click-through rate. I would say on average probably about an 80% higher click-through rate on my videos with the changes I made to the thumbnail and some minor tweaks to my titles. Of course, it's also super important for people to find my videos in the first place, so I've done a fair amount of research on SEO, search engine optimization, and one thing I absolutely refuse to do, and I'm sure you guys will appreciate this, I refuse to use clickbait. I friggin' hate it. I hate it with a passion. You'll never see me use it on this channel. I tried it, I think, once. I felt really dirty doing it, and it didn't do that well anyways, so I will never touch that. I friggin' hate it. Whenever I see a clickbait video on YouTube, I avoid it like the plague. I can make an entire video ranting about how much I hate it. I got a new 3D printer that I use for making gear for the channel, and I also sell 3D prints, so please check out the link in the description for my online shop to help out the channel a little bit. And I got some other stuff in the pipeline too, like I'm just starting to plan out a build for a 3D printed CNC machine. And of course, there was some changes in my personal life as well. The high point is that I got married to my lovely wife. And on the low end, unfortunately, I found out that I've got high blood pressure. Thankfully, I've got it under control. I had started going on hikes in an effort to get more fit, and this was months before I found out I had higher blood pressure. I think it had retroactively really helped. I can only imagine if I hadn't started exercising, how bad it would be. Thankfully, it's not that bad, and my doctor had said just continue exercising, cut out a lot of salts, and I should be able to get it under control. Because, man, I decided to check it one day while I was in a Walmart, and I was at 157 systolic, man, that was high. I'm doing really well. I've got the numbers dropping, which is a good sign. But aside from that, man, like I had definitely gotten some feedback in some of my videos that, I was overweight and unfit, and I took that to heart. I really started going out, like, man, 3 to 4 times a week, and actually doing so today. I will throw on all my backpacking gear, the full 40-pound winter loadout, and go on a hike. It's just under 8Ks. I think it's like 7.75 kilometers. So I do that 3 to 4 times a week. And when I can, I go swimming once a week. And I have shed a lot of fat. My actual weight hasn't gone down, believe it or not. I've only lost about, I think, just over 10 pounds. But that's because the fat has been slowly replaced by muscle. Man, my legs are really tanky now. Not only is it good for my health, but it also means that I am fit enough to do some cooler backcountry stuff for the channel. If you've seen some of my previous videos, like I think it was 2019, I had a 10-kilometer hike into a winter camp, and oh man, I was so exhausted by the time I got to camp. Like, the rest of the video was just me sitting around looking like I was about to pass out at any given time. But now, with my full winter loadout there, I have done 16 kilometers, well, just under 16, but basically 16 kilometers on really rough and hilly terrain. And that is a massive improvement over how fit I was before. Okay, so let's talk about what's in the pipeline for 2022. If Social Blade is to be believed, and based on my current increasing metrics, I am on track to hit 13,000 subscribers by the end of 2022. Now, every time I make a prediction like that, it always craps the bed and I never wind up hitting it, so I say that with a grain of salt. As for the important milestone, which will be a huge component of this channel once I get it, the Cybertruck, it's looking pretty good. Tesla seems to be on track for their production of it. It's looking like initial production will start in the third quarter of 2022. Now, I'm in Canada, so deliveries here will lag behind the initial US deliveries. And as it stands, the configuration's changed a little bit. I had initially reserved a dual motor back when it was only the single, dual, and tri-motor variants. Now they've dropped the single motor, and now it's dual, tri, and quad motor. So I am at the bottom of the queue, and they always start with the higher end ones first. So if I stick with my dual motor, I'm going to be one of the last initial reservation holders to take delivery. Once I get the opportunity, RIP my wallet, but I'm going to bump up my reservation to the quad motor. Oh man, I'm not looking forward to those payments. I'm going to have to max out the payment period to the max allotted time. Yeah, anyways, moral of the story is, if I'm super lucky and I make the upgrade to the quad motor, I may, and I say that with a huge asterisk and grain of salt, I may be able to take delivery by the end of next year. Any amount of delays will basically turn that prediction into dust. I'm really hoping things stay on track and that I'm able to take delivery at the end of 2022. So I've been talking non-stop about this damn truck on this channel for, it'll be years at this point. And I keep promising you guys, as soon as I get that truck, we're gonna do all kinds of crazy overlanding and trip adventures. And I have a funny feeling that when I get that truck and start doing content with it, this channel is going to absolutely explode. I'm not banking on it, but it's just one of those hunches. Sorry, crazy wind just started coming through the window. So yeah, let's assume that magic happens and an absolute miracle occurs and I somehow manage to take delivery of my Cybertruck by the end of 2022. I promise I will go on at least one adventure with it and obviously make a video out of it before the end of the year, as well as all of the other content that will come along with taking delivery of it, right? Like the initial look-see and tour of the vehicle, experimenting with the full self-driving feature if it happens to be available to me by then, and any other videos that you guys want to see. If you're curious about that, drop me a comment down below. Let me know what kinds of videos you want to see with the Cybertruck. But aside from that, like I said, I definitely want to do more adventures in general. I've got more skatepacking trips in the pipeline, like the Toronto to Niagara trip. I want to finish that 300-kilometer route that I had to bail out of, and possibly that 1,500-kilometer trip to the East Coast on my electric skateboard that I've been planning. I'm a pretty significant way into planning the route for that. So yeah, to wrap things up, the channel definitely shit the bed for a while in 2021, and if I'm being honest, I was really starting to lose hope in the channel, but thankfully for the past few months, things seem to be doing really well. I'm super excited to keep exploring intersections of tech and outdoors, like backpacking on my electric skateboard and overlanding in the Cybertruck, and the rate at which I add video ideas to the queue is a lot faster than I can actually turn them out. So I have no shortage of things to do for videos. So most importantly, this channel would not exist if it wasn't for you guys here watching, subscribing, clicking on my links. So thank you for being here and supporting this channel in whatever ways you choose to. If you want to help out the channel, like I said, I have a link to my online 3D print and paracord shop in the description. Check that out if you want to give me an excuse to use my 3D printer. If for whatever reason you're watching this and you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. I take a look at how fun, futuristic technology can intersect with traditional outdoors experiences, if that wasn't apparent already. So yeah, I just wanted to take the time to take a look at this past year and everything that's happened, and just thank you guys for sticking around and listening to my lame ass talk and go on weird adventures. 2022 is going to be the year of Mike. I can feel it in my bones. That's it for me for this video. I'll catch you guys at the next one. Happy New Year, guys.